There comes a moment in every person's life when the world goes silent. Not because the noise has disappeared, but because something inside of you becomes louder than everything around you. A moment when the excuses lose their power, when the doubts no longer feel like warnings but chains, when the voice inside your soul whispers, "You were not born to live on the sidelines." This is the moment when you begin to think like a millionaire, long before the money ever arrives. Because wealth, true wealth, does not begin in your bank account. It begins in your mind. It begins in the invisible architecture of your beliefs, your habits, your standards, and your vision. Every fortune that has ever been built started long before the world noticed it. It started in a quiet spark of thought, inside someone who refused to let life tell them who they could be. Napoleon Hill spent 20 years studying the greatest minds of his time. People like Carnegie, Edison, Ford, men who built empires out of ideas, not circumstances. And time after time, he discovered the same truth. Riches follow the mind that is prepared to receive them. The world does not give wealth to the person who waits. It gives wealth to the person who decides. So if you want to think like a millionaire before you are one, the first shift begins with this. You must stop living from your present circumstances and start living from your future vision. Every person who ever crossed the bridge from poverty to prosperity crossed it first in their imagination. Edison saw light before the world believed in it. Disney saw castles before he had a single dollar to build one. Henry Ford saw millions of people driving his cars before a road system even existed. They all did it the same way, by refusing to let the present dictate the future. Your life will always expand or shrink to the size of your thoughts. If your vision is small, your results will bow down to that level. But when your vision becomes larger than your fear, larger than your past, larger than the circumstances you were born into, that is when life begins to transform. You must become the kind of person who wakes up and sees potential in places others see limitations, opportunity where others see obstacles, growth where others see risk. You must train your mind to expand beyond the surface, beyond the temporary, beyond the noise. Because the mind of a millionaire is not a mind that waits for permission, it is a mind that commands direction. Belief is the foundation. Not blind belief, not empty optimism, but a fierce, unshakable conviction that you were meant for more. That everything around you right now is simply the starting point, not the definition of your destiny. When Hill wrote, "Whatever the mind can conceive and believe it can achieve," he wasn't selling fantasy. He was revealing the formula every titan of achievement understood, that your life is built from the inside out. But belief alone is not enough. You must be willing to discipline your mind, to take control of the thoughts you feed it. Most people feed their minds with fear, distraction, comparison. Millionaires feed their minds with clarity, purpose, and intention. Most people let the world program them. Millionaires program themselves. This is the shift. Your mind must become your most valuable asset. You guard it, sharpen it, and challenge it daily. You become a student of discipline. The discipline to stay focused when others wander, to stay consistent when others get bored, to stay hungry when others get comfortable. Because success does not belong to the most talented, it belongs to the most disciplined. The person who can keep going when motivation fades. The person who can persist through boredom. The person who can master their inner world so their outer world obeys. And as your mindset evolves, something remarkable happens. You stop chasing the million and you start becoming the person who attracts it. You begin to walk differently, decide differently, work differently. Because millionaires are not defined by money, they are defined by identity. They think differently about effort. They think differently about failure. They think differently about time. Most people waste hours like they are infinite. Millionaires treat time like a sacred currency. Most people avoid discomfort. Millionaires seek it out because they know discomfort is the birthplace of growth. Most people cling to the familiar. Millionaires venture into the unknown because that is where the greatest opportunities live. But the greatest shift of all is this: a millionaire mind is built on responsibility. A refusal to blame circumstances, a refusal to shrink when life gets difficult, a refusal to bow to excuses. When Andrew Carnegie arrived in America as a poor immigrant boy, he had nothing but a belief that he could create a life far bigger than the one he came from. No connections, no safety net, no privilege, just a mind sharpened by hunger and a spirit unwilling to be defeated. And because he chose responsibility over excuses, the world eventually bowed to that mindset. Where others said, "I can't because," he said, "I will until." And that is how millionaires think before the world ever knows their name.